Let's hear from somebody in Alabama at this moment. Tony from WCPT and Afraid of Me. Tony, go ahead, from Huntsville.
Jefferson, how you doing?
Holding up.
Man, listen, this is nuts. But they're so excited. Oh, my God. They're excited down here. This legislature is ridiculous. But listen, this is the land of Roy Moore. So if anybody's surprised, they shouldn't be. Roy Moore lost to Doug Jones because of this very issue. But remember, Roy Moore was the guy that was hanging around high schools. Remember?
Yep.
He was the guy that got banned from the mall.
Yep.
Because he was hanging around high school girls in his 30s. Remember that?
Yep.
So this is how they think. And when you think about the white supremacists down here, they think about white male genocide. And the only way they can stop it, the way they can stop the intermixing of white women with black men or Hispanic or whatever may be the case, they have to control their women. I've talked to a lot of these guys, and they're saying feminists are crazy. We got to find a way to get control of our women so that we can impregnate our women and make them hold these babies, because they're having babies for black men. They're having babies for Mexicans. We'll be mated off the planet here in a few years. What the heck can we do to stop these women from going either to other races or to have them have our babies? But you got to understand that most of these dudes are just cowards. These are guys who call themselves being celibate from women, or I forgot the little name of the group. But these are guys who get in a position to change the laws, and now they can do to women with the law what they were cowards to do in high school. They couldn't date. Nobody wanted them. But now they got power, and they become white supremacists, or they have supremacist views. And now this thing is about how do we get our women to have white babies? And they're going to redefine what incest is.
And I want to pick up on two things, or at least amplify two things. One is, again, seeing this through a lens of subjugation of women, but also understand it through its political timing. I mentioned this briefly previously, but understand the timing is not accidental. This was consulted prior. It was not random. Alabama has had its current legislative composition for a while. It did not merely recently turn right-wing. The members of the Republican Party in Alabama who are in the legislature did not recently form their views on this topic. So why now? Two reasons. One, because Justice Kennedy is no longer a justice. I'm not saying Justice Kennedy is any hero, but I am saying that the appointment of Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, the change to now 5 arch right-wing justices, opens an opportunity. Means that when they passed this, an unconstitutional law, when they violated their oath of office — I have not read the Alabama oath of office. I would be shocked if it does not say they are to uphold the Constitution of the United States. When they did that, this will give us a chance to change the interpretation of the Constitution, because we got 5 votes in the Supreme Court. But the other is the timing looking forward. The timing is seen through the lens of the Doug Jones campaign for re-election to the U.S. Senate, when they recognize that he's a pretty well-liked guy, that if Roy Moore is the nominee, Roy Moore got defeated before. What could make Alabama voters go to the polls to support Roy Moore? What could get voters who leave the pulpit to go to the ballot box, and in the pulpit they're hearing "thou shalt not steal," and they learn a little bit more about Donald Trump finances? They hear lessons from the pulpit about how thou should not covet thy neighbor's wife, and they learn a little more about Donald Trump's personal behavior with women. When they hear from the pulpit, thou shalt not lie, and they realize the current occupant of the White House has turned lying. I'm not going to call it an art form because it's not very artful, but it is I don't even call it expertise because it's not that hard. It is bold, but has turned it into an absurd, ridiculous level of untruthiness. They say, well, how are we still supposed to vote for this cat? We're told we're supposed to respect family values. This cat separated children from their families at the border. Why am I supposed to be motivated for this guy? This guy, if I don't have a bunch of dough, why am I that excited about all the benefits for tax cuts going to the people who are already doing really well and owning most of the stuff in the country? Why am I excited about that? Oh, wait a minute. What if the number one topic that people are talking about in Alabama, the Doug Jones election, and maybe the Roe Moore election, what if the topic that's being talked about at the pulpit is just a woman's right to choose, that they will not call that they will not even consider in that sermon the impact on freedoms for women. They will not even consider the freedoms of trans pregnant people in this country in that sermon. They will not consider the implications that has on all of our obligations to try to work for a somewhat more just, fair world. That will not be mentioned in the sermon. What will be mentioned is they got to get to the polls. Doesn't matter if the occupant of the White House is on their side. It doesn't matter if the occupant of the White House is moral, but he will agree with that Southern Baptist minister on this issue and therefore get to the polls. The timing here is important.